Feminist theory can be applied to nearly every novel that you read. Simply put, it's an analysis of the roles that women play in literature. How are they represented? How do they deal with power? These are just some guiding questions. Welcome to the English blog. Today we'll be looking at feminist theory applied to the novel Homegoing. Homegoing is a story about two branches from the same family tree. Each chapter is dedicated to a different descendant, and the novel's timeline spans over 250 years. Despite the leaps in time, the story flows smoothly. When looking at the novel, feminist theory is one of the most prominent literary criticisms that can be applied. The mistreatment and inequality that women face in their day-to-day lives is evident throughout the entire novel. The novel begins around 1760 and ends in the new millennia. Given this large timeline, the treatment of women has drastically improved from the first chapters of the novel up until the last chapters of the novel. Still, women face the same major challenges. In the novel, women are represented as inferior to men. They do not ever exercise any power and let the men of the story make all the decisions and rarely ever challenge them. The novel begins set in Ghana. Men are clearly superior in tribes due to the fact that one man has multiple wives. It is seen as a sign of weakness if a man only has one wife. One character describes, quote, "Each wife has her own hut. This is the hut she shares with her children. When it is her husband's night to be with her, he goes to her in her hut." End quote. Women have little to no value, they are just there to support the man whom they marry. Not that they can choose that either. Women also face abuse when they disagree or speak out against a male, especially in the early chapters of the novel. Women are also encouraged to beat their children, and some take it much further than they should. In Effie's case, her mother Baba beat her to take out her frustration after Cobb beat her. The novel describes, quote, "For each scar on Effie's body, there was a companion scar on Baba's, but that did not stop mother from beating daughter, father from beating mother." End quote. Later on in the novel, this inferior representation of women is not as clear as it was in the beginning. In America, women are not outright abused or forced into marriage. No. Instead, women face discrimination through their search for jobs. They find it extremely difficult to find good work compared to men. Willie, quote, worked odd jobs, mostly cleaning, end quote, while still trying to support her son as a single mother. She had a beautiful voice and tried to audition, but they told her that her skin was too dark. She asked why the men on stage could perform then, as they were darker skinned than her, and the owner said that it was different for them. Besides being represented as inferior to men, women are also represented as their sex objects. They are raped often, especially in the first part of the novel. One woman living at Cape Coast Castle told the others that, quote, "I tell him he must wash before he touches me, and sometimes he does, but sometimes he pushes me to the floor and pushes into me like he has been possessed." End quote. It is extremely rare for women to talk openly about their husbands raping them. Rape is openly described in the novel, but the characters never talk about it other than this one instance. Women usually have to deal with that burden alone. Not only are women raped, but they are also sold. This is what Essie reveals when she is held captive in the dungeons of Cape Coast Castle. After being captured, she is later sold to a slave owner in America and shipped away from her home country of Ghana. Women are also forced into marriage. Their fathers set up who their daughters are to marry, and depending on if she meets the society's beauty standards, it can make this selection easier or harder. For Effie, she was regarded as the village beauty. Many men bought her gifts such as palm wine, fish, and goats. This made it difficult for Cobb to select a husband, but he also enjoyed the gifts his family was receiving. Lastly, the roles played by women in the novel are the same gender roles we see in society today. Women are expected to cook for men, and if their cooking is not suitable, then they must make something that is. Esther is Yaw's house girl, and one day, when she feels her cooking was bad, she tells him, quote, "You don't have to eat it if you don't like it. I'll make something else for you." End quote. Women are also expected to do housework. When James asks if he can help carry the bucket of water Akosa is carrying on her head, she looked horrified, saying, quote, "No, please, you shouldn't be doing this type of work." End quote. Cleaning and housework is stereotypically a woman's job, and men are not expected to do any of it in this novel. Lastly, women are expected to raise children and have a family. It is extremely important for both men and women to have offspring within the first few months of marriage. For women specifically, it looks bad on them if they do not have children. A woman without children is seen as cursed and wicked. Alma tells her husband that, quote, "If I do not get pregnant soon, people will start to believe there is something wrong with me," end quote. Overall, women are mistreated in the novel. Feminist criticism is easily applied because of the vast inequalities and stereotypes that women face. These are only a few that we had time for in today's episode. As always, like and subscribe and drop a comment below with your thoughts on the video. See you all next week.